Welcome to Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 2, episode 10 today. How are you doing, Andy, on this January 30th? We're rounding out the month.
Yes, I'm doing well, Dan. Doing very good.
Well, we're at the finishing up the sports season. Winter sports season here is in full swing here at the end of January. February is going to go fast, as it always does, and it's going to be March Madness before we know it. And
Right.
pitchers, catchers report next month.
Yeah, the 14th, we got Daytona 500. We got pitchers and catchers. What more could you ask for in a day?
It's going to go fast, and it's going to be fun time of year. Hot stove for baseball's winding down. We'll touch on that today too.
Yeah.
And should I start off with the trivia question?
Yes, go ahead. Trivia question.
So tomorrow on Sunday is Pro Bowl. They're not going to actually play it this year. They're going to do it virtually. But I thought I'd have a trivia question based on the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl, here's the question. Every year an MVP is named in the Pro Bowl, right? MVP. Name the only player who won the MVP in the Pro Bowl twice in back-to-back seasons.
Oh, wow.
Or games, I should say. Only one player has ever done it.
Oh, wow.
And there's a Minnesota connection to this person.
Uh-oh. Do not know.
We'll come back here before the musical segment and do the answer.
All right. We talked about the winter sports heading up. To make you think more, we're going to talk a little Summer Olympics, Tokyo, Japan. Last year, of course, Tokyo was supposed to have the Summer Olympics. They've reached out and they said they're going to try this year, opening on the 23rd of July. Or was set to open 23rd of July, postponed 10 months due to the pandemic. I've talked to some people I know, I've called my people, that have worked with the Olympic teams in the past. They're saying no, it's not going to happen. Not with this new spread or second wave or whatever they're calling it now. Yeah, the World Cup for soccer is going up. That's one sport, one area you're bubbling. You can't bubble an entire country for the Olympics. Next year is supposed to be the Winter Olympics in 22. Hopefully we've got this all figured out by then, but there just might not be a Summer Olympics, which is kind of it's like when your country boycotts it. You feel bad for the athletes who've been practicing since they were 5 and if they can or can't, you feel kind of bad for them. You hope there's maybe some kind of like regional North American games or something they can go to get some kind of something for all their work, So I do feel bad for the athletes who've trained their whole lives for this. Hopefully something comes of it. Maybe they have the winter and summer both in 2022. I don't know. But I won't hold my breath or make any plans. I heard someone in Florida was saying, oh, well, we'll host the Olympics here. You just bring them over here. Yeah, that's it. We'll throw together the Olympics in a few months in one state. Get off your high horse, Florida. You're not going to do it. Speaking of that, go for men's gymnastics. One of the gymnastics, Shane Wiskus, will not compete for the Gophers at the beginning of the season, starting this weekend against Iowa. He has decided to stay in Colorado Springs, the Olympic Training Center, and keep working for the Olympic team. He's trying out for the Summer Olympics. He'll be unable to travel back and forth between Colorado and Minnesota due to the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee quarantine rules. You have to quarantine 7 days every time you travel. We can't go back between the U and there, back and forth. That's just not going to happen. So he's staying just with the Olympic team. If possible, he'd be able to join the Gophers at the end of the season and compete for the maroon and gold then. He's got to be good with the Olympics. Gophers could really use him. They're going to miss him. He was Big Ten Gymnast of the Year each of his first 3 seasons at Minnesota. And he would continue to attend classes virtually and receive academic support while he remains in Colorado to train. He is on track to graduate from Minnesota this semester. A little time from that, though. Senior, local boy from Spring Park, Minnesota, went to Mound Westonka High School. So kind of a local boy out here for us. Another reason right there I kind of want to see the Summer Olympics. Kind of a local guy going that kid from Minnesota. That's a local guy who's in the Olympics that's not in hockey. Okay, so we don't see that very often. Or in one of the skiing events. So nice to see a Minnesota kid there. I hope they could get something out for him or something could come for him on that. A little baseball news I got. The way it's looking right now, last year with the pandemic and the bubbling and the whole different schedule. They had universal DHs and some of the other rules. Sounds like they're not going to go universal DH this year. They've decided against that. They are going to expand the playoffs, or think of expanding the playoffs, and they're still kicking around the idea of the whole 7 innings for a doubleheader and extra innings runner starting at second base. I'm not a big fan of the runner starting at second base thing. 7-inning doubleheaders I can get used to. No runner starting second base. I admit it. Baseball fans are the worst when it comes to changing rules in their sport. Maybe it's because I'm a baseball fan and I'm going to take their side. They're the worst at accepting rule changes. The DH, I'm not a fan of it. I wish it was the same in both leagues, though. So that's what I'm going to say on that one. That's where I stand on that. 7 innings for doubleheaders, I guess I'm okay with that. I get it. Starting with the runner on second base, though, for extra innings, I can't. If it was maybe starting the 13th inning, okay, maybe. But not right away in the 10th. That kind of takes away from it. Maybe it's the Lutheran in me not liking change. I don't know, but.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So last year with the pandemic, 2020, there wasn't fans in the crowd. They could play doubleheaders back to back, and to get all those games in, do 7 innings. But typically with fans, most of the doubleheaders we see nowadays are day-night doubleheaders. They get all the fans out, they bring them all back again, recharge admission. How is that going to work out?
I think it depends on the fan situation. This way, if they're going to go 7 innings, you give them back-to-back games, 1 ticket sale, not day-night, but 1 sale. Kind of like the old doubleheaders back in the day. They have an hour in between or something like that to change uniforms, redo the field, and then come back up for 7 more innings. That's my guess on how it's going to work. It's still Major League Baseball Players Association, and that's also kicking out. But from what I've read and heard, they're still going to go with the 7 innings for doubleheaders, which, again, I'm okay with. I've accepted that one. Just the other thing on that is, it's 5 innings for a complete game. So if they went 6 innings and it rained, and you haven't given up a hit yet, that's a no-hitter. Yeah, there's a little asterisk by rain delay. So if a guy throws a no-hitter in the first half of a doubleheader, is that going to have an asterisk where it going, hey, it was only a 7 inning of a doubleheader, though? If they want to note it that way, yeah, note it. I got no problem with that. You're just noting that it was a 7-inning game, not 9. I'm okay with that. I'm not taking away from it. Yes, it should go in the books as a no-hitter, but it was only a 7-inning game, too. With that said, that's my baseball news. That and there was kicking around for a while in Arizona for the Cactus League, as they call the spring training there. They were thinking of delaying it, and then by the time I finished taking all my notes down, I go to the next source for notes, and they said, "Oh no, I guess we'll be fine." They're still, again, hemming and hawing on that, so don't be surprised. Like we just said, the 14th, pitchers and catchers start reporting. They may still report. How many spring training games will they have? We'll see. I don't know yet. I hope they get a lot. That's just my opinion. But
I think I got 3 things on baseball.
Yeah, what do you got for baseball?
We've been covering the Mets the last 2 or 3 weeks with all these trades and signings and big money and big dollars, and now this last week, not much action. Was there anything for the Mets this last week?
Steven Matz did go to Toronto, a guy who they just put money into during the off season. But like I said before, I think when they signed all these other pitchers and they got the pitcher, when they got Candy from Cleveland there, they got to make room for him. And halfway through the season, if everything goes well, Syndergaard's coming back, so they're going to have to make room somewhere. I think they're just making the room now. Let's cut it now instead of trying to decide at All-Star break, who do we get rid of? Maybe you could have got more for somebody if you waited, but you don't want to get rid of someone when they're doing well either. So let's just take the chance, roll the dice, get rid of Matsy now. To me, that says Syndergaard's coming back well. He's on schedule. Because if there was something holding that up, I don't think they get rid of a pitcher yet. Unless they're trying to make room, free up money for the pitcher from the Reds, Bauer, or if they're waiting for somebody else. Who knows? Maybe they're freeing up money. Maybe they're being positive that we'll limp through the first couple of months till Syndergaard gets back. I personally like to see Syndergaard come back this season as a reliever, just because you don't want to put all that pressure as a starter right off the bat. But he's a gamer. He's an athlete. He's a professional. He might come back to the starter too. We'll see.
Well, the local Chaska graduate, Brad Hand, was with the Cleveland Indians last couple of seasons, signed this week with the Washington Nationals. So the big lefty there, Brad Hand, will be with the Washington Nationals this coming year. Now, speaking of the Indians, they signed Eddie Rosario, and so they're going to use him in the outfield. And I looked at some stats on Rosario. I was a big fan when he was with the Twins, but they obviously have room in the outfield to move him. And his best hitting ballpark was Cleveland Indians, outside of Target Field. So I think they took that into consideration where he does best in the American League, and it's at the Indians field. So he put up some big numbers there. He'll be an Indian playing within our division, so we're going to have to face him now going forward. The Twins made a big move this week, signing free agent Andeltron Simmons. And now that's going to be interesting, I think, because it's going to give us an everyday shortstop, high caliber, very elite level shortstop player, rather than Polanco. They'll move Polanco now to second base. Polanco is having another season-ending or off-season ankle surgery last year and this year. They're going to move him to second. And he came up as a second baseman in the farm system, played single A, double A, triple A. Then they moved him to shortstop. So that became his position. And he's a below average shortstop in the major leagues. So move him to second base to be the everyday Twins second baseman. Have Andelton play short every day. It's really going to be a good thing. The fallout to that is Mr. Luis Arraez. Luis Arraez was our second baseman, and now with Marwin Gonzalez gone, who was our utility guy, they're going to make, it sounds like, Luis Arraez the utility guy that can play short, third, second base, left field, and move around that way. Now, the only thing with that is Luis Arraez, over the last 2 seasons, hit .331 in the major leagues, but doesn't have enough at bats to qualify. He could have been up there running for the batting title.
Right.
And so if he's going to be a spot player, role player on defense, is he going to get the at bats even to qualify? So I think he's going to be more than likely upset about that. But I think if I read an article that they can use him in left field to start the season right away until they bring up some of the younger guys to play left, and maybe move him to a lot more time at DH if they don't sign Nelson Cruz.
That's what I was just going to say. Cruz isn't inked yet, so.
And because it's American League only this year with the DH, I think the White Sox are actually a candidate to get Cruz. So, Josh Donaldson, injury prone at third base. Arraez could play third, second to spell Polanco, short to relieve Andeltron. And I don't know if he plays first at all. We got Lamonte Wade Jr. Also at first base, but you can plug him into the outfield. But also, I like the fact that he can maybe use him as a DH for Arraez, then get his 500 and so at bats. That guy can hit, and so that's the big news. Polanco moved to second. New guy at short, a lot of range there, real good. That's all I've got for my baseball news.
I mean, a good steady good steady utility guy. The Twins haven't had one, and not that it's got great numbers, but really the last good guy you could plug in any infield position I could think of, Jeff Rebelay. You can put him at short, second, third. He preferred second base, but you could plug him in anywhere. He was okay.
I saw an article just today online that's comparing Luis Arraez as a utility player to the former great Twin Cesar Tovar. He's going to be at that caliber, high-end utility guy that you can plug and play anywhere you need him on the field.
Didn't Cesar play all 9 positions in one game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every inning he played a different position. One of the few that's done that.
A different position.
And I think that was 1964, 65 maybe, but that's Cesar Tovar. So Arraez has the talent to do that, and if they can get his bat in the lineup, qualify him, he could be up there in the running for a batting title. And I think the Twins at one point were thinking that he could be trade bait because he's such a good hitter and they've got no place for him. We could get a good starting pitcher or someone in return, big bucks for Arraez on the trade market. But now it looks like they're going to keep him, plug him in, somewhere else here and utilize his bat and his plate appearance. He's a hitter, much like Tony Oliva back in the day. I think.
Yep.
He pretty much hit anything.
Yep.
Last minute, he's quick with the hands. He could hit the ball. So it'll be interesting to see that. That's all I've got for baseball for Hot Stove.
Yeah, with the Twins, they got a lot of they got a lot of better than average players on their team. And that's the kind of team that scares me the most. No real superstar. Josh Donaldson maybe is your superstar. After that, you got a bunch of better than average players. Okay, you take the 87 Twins. I'm not going to suck a homer here, but after Puckett, who did you really have? Viola got hot at the end of the year, pitching-wise. And don't tell me Blyleven was a superstar. He was just good and consistent then. Herbeck, if you're not from Minnesota, he was just a better than average first baseman. Gaetti, better than average third baseman. Bernansky, better than average outfield. 87, Gladden. Gladden maybe because he was kind of a big name when we got him from the Giants. He came off, I think he was second rookie of the year behind Good a couple years before that. So Gladden was kind of, again, Gladden, better than average outfielder. Puckett was the superstar. The rest were just low better than average. That's what the Twins got right now this year too. That's what they've had the last few years. And funny, they've won the division. Yankees have spent all the money. They're out in the first round. So,
and I see also that George Springer signed with Toronto, the Blue Jays.
Toronto's been dropping the money a lot this year too.
Them and the Mets. Wow.
I don't know with Toronto right now this year either. You look at hockey. All their teams are playing in one division in Canada because they can't travel. I'm not sure where the Raptors are playing for the NBA, but they can't travel back and forth. So when baseball starts, if minor leagues are in full swing too, where are the Blue Jays going to play? So
interesting question.
We shall see.
We shall see here in within the next month or two, we'll know some of these answers.
Yeah. Speaking of Minnesota ties, you said they got the Pro Bowl this week. Next week, there's another little game going on down in the new title town of Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup champions. The Rays make the World Series. The Bucks are now not only hosting the Super Bowl, are in it. So Tampa Bay, the new title town. Actually, I stand corrected. Tampa is the new title town. There is no town called Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is an area. Little geography lesson for you there. Minnesota ties. Damian Wilson, defensive player for the Kansas City Chiefs, will be in the Super Bowl, number 54. Buccaneers, Tyler Johnson, number 18, who had the penalty called to win the game, Gopher there, and Antoine Winfield Jr. He was injured in the last game, but he should be healthy. This is a Super Bowl. Unless I got 2 IVs and a heart monitor on me, you're not holding me out of the Super Bowl. And Antoine Winfield Jr., I think it's the same way. He'll be out there no matter what. So it'll be nice to see some Minnesota Gopher connections on both teams. So it'll be kind of fun to watch. Other things I got here, college hockey. Boston College coach Jerry York collected his 1,100th career win as a Division I coach last week with a victory over UConn. Just to put that in perspective for local folks here. Coach, 1,100 wins. Well, Doug Woog was a great coach in Minnesota. Yeah, Woog had 388 wins. This guy's got 1,100. Don Lucia, great coach. I think he had like 403 wins. So, let's not get too excited with our Lucia and Woog, both great coaches, don't get me wrong. Those two combined don't have what this guy has. Boston College, 1,100 wins. Congratulations, coach. Before I get to the rankings, a new little segment I like to call Andy's Soapbox. I got my soapbox here on a little something. Trying to stay away from the political end of it, but just kind of, I was thinking the other day. I kind of go back to the point, the national anthem before a sporting event, the Star Spangled Banner. Say what you will if you want to stand, sit, kneel, do whatever. They started just putting it on TV like really in the last 15, 20 years before a game. Before that, they didn't really care. I remember when I was a kid, you'd be at a ball game, and it was always fun to see when you get there, if a certain band was in town that weekend or that week, someone from the band would sing the national anthem at the baseball game if they were there. That's how it worked out. You didn't fly someone in just for the national anthem. Just either that or it was like hey, hey, here's the singers from the play down at Chanhassen Dinner Theater doing the national anthem, or a church choir, or a high school band. And everybody just stood up and you stood for the national anthem, you removed your hats, and you went. NASCAR still shows that on TV. And as they say it, gentlemen, remove your hats, stand for the national anthem. Everybody stands at a NASCAR event. And the thing about NASCAR, too, I still took the hat to the NASCAR this year, too. Not only they televised the national anthem, they televised the prayer beforehand, too. They have a local minister and do that. So, and that's just a NASCAR thing. If you're at home and you don't like it when that happens, you know what? Go to the bathroom, get a sandwich, get something to drink. Don't watch it. Same way to a real sporting event. For whatever your reason, you don't want to be there for the national anthem, go hit the bathroom, go get a sandwich, go get something to drink. You know, it's what you do. There's a clip, if you look on YouTube, Usain Bolt, the track guy, he's doing an interview. He's from Jamaica, doing an interview with someone. And at track, he had all these different events going on. He's doing an interview. The U.S. national anthem started. He stopped and turned around to the flags.
I've seen that, yes.
There's an interview of a guy, he was a pole vaulter. He's running down with the pole vault, ex-Marine, anthem played. He stopped, dropped it, turned, and saluted the flag where he was, or stood attention to the flag. I got no problem with that. If he would have kept going through with this thing, fine. Again, no problem with that. If you don't like what's going on with it, though, like for football players, just use football players, for example. If you don't like the national anthem, go back to the locker room during it then. I'd have no problem with that. I'd be okay with that. There was a basketball player years ago, back in the 80s. I can't remember his name right now. But he, Muslim, he didn't like it. He went to the locker room during the national anthem, came back out. I was totally okay with that. I respected that because he didn't try to make a scene there. He left. He came back out afterwards. Life went on. But the Star Spangled Banner, it started back right around World War I. Late 19th century, bands would come out every now and then, military bands would play it here and there. And it began at Game 1 of the World Series in 1918 between the Red Sox and Cubs. This was way back in the day when Babe Ruth still played for the Red Sox. It was the last time the Cubs won a World Series before a few years ago. So, you know, that's when it started. They do it every now and then. It became a thing. The country was in a bad place at the time, and that's kind of what brought us together. Again, okay, without getting my soapbox, that's what's tearing us apart right now. Anyway, as the song began during that Cubs-Red Sox World Series game, Red Sox infielder Fred Thomas, who was in the Navy and had been granted a furlough to play in the World Series, immediately turned toward the American flag and gave it a military salute, according to the Chicago Tribune. Other players turned to the flag with their hands over their hearts, and the already standing crowd began to sing. As the song's conclusion, the previously quiet fans erupted in thunderous applause. At the time, the New York Times reported that it marked the highest point of the day's enthusiasm. Because this was in Chicago, and during that day, it was during World War I. That day, there was a bombing, an explosion in Chicago that day. So the town was just, you know, you just got your lunch handed to you. They went to the game, and that was kind of the boost they all needed there. So it kind of became a thing. They did it every game. NFL made it a regular thing after a while. And, you know, in 1954, the general manager of the Baltimore Orioles, Arthur Ellers, a World War I veteran, complained about the fact that the fans went on talking, laughing, and moving around during the national anthem. He was going to have it taken out. To me, he said it's very disrespectful. So disrespectful that he found that he decided he wouldn't play the national anthem for the games anymore. And later on, the Baltimore City Council asked him, no, you must continue it. We need it. And, you know, that's kind of where I'm getting at here is, here it was back then when it started. As a country, we weren't at our best point during World War I at the time. It kind of brought us together. Now our country's not the best point at the time it is. It seems the anthem is what's tearing it farther apart. Kind of funny how things go full circle. Again, without saying if you should stand, sit, kneel, whatever. If it's not your thing and you're at home, turn it off for a few seconds. Go get something to eat, get a drink, whatever. If you're at the game, at least stand and respect it for everybody else that's around you. It's kind of like when you're at a religious event, let's say. You're the Lutheran at the Catholic church service for someone's wedding or whatever. You don't do all the kneeling, but you still just kind of sit quietly and let them do their thing. Vice versa, Catholics don't go out for communion but you still respect that they're doing it. You don't sit there and stand in their way saying that's wrong, that's not what you're supposed to do. You just sit back and let them do their thing. For the national anthem, at least stand. Okay, don't put your hand over your heart. Just stand there with your hands in your pockets. I don't care. At least stand. Stand there with your hands in your pockets and go, on the way home after the game, I should really stop and get milk and bread at the store. Great, whatever. Stand. That's all I'm saying out there. I'm off my soapbox. I'm done. That's what I got on that. We'll get into some other sports stuff here now. We've got the rankings for high school and college sports here and upcoming schedules. Again, the boys basketball rankings out here all. Don't want to say sponsor box, you'll get paid for, but okay, I get them off the Max Preps Sports webpage. Okay, boys basketball. Again, we're recording this on a Saturday, so some games have been played, Friday night, Saturday, Thursday, Friday. So I won't give records. I'll just give the standings. Boys basketball, again, Max Preps. They give a all-around ranking, then by class. All around, they got Caledonia 1, Legacy Christian Academy in Andover 2nd, Tino Grace 3rd, Minnehaha Academy 4th, and South St. Paul 5th. Class A, they got Legacy Christian at 1, Nevis at 2, Southwest Minnesota Christian and Edgerton 3, Minoan 4, and Fertile 5th. Class 2A, Caledonia 1, St. Charles 2, Blue Earth, Albany, and 5th, Watertown Mayor, local girl. Class 3A, Tino Grace, Minnehaha Academy, South St. Paul, Alexandria, and Matamidi. And then in the Class 4A, the big schools, Champlain Park, Hopkins, Lakeville South, Minneapolis South, and Edina, round out the top 5. Girls basketball, we got Hopkins 1, Virginia 2, Centennial 3, Houston 4, Monaga 5, Watertown Mayor 6. For the classes, Class A, Houston, Belgrade, Parker's Prairie, St. Mary's, and Sleepy Eye 4, and Hayfield 5. 2A, Virginia, Monaga, Watertown Mayor 3, Holly 4, Sauk Center 5. 3A, it's Academy of Holy Angels in Richfield 1, Hutchinson 2, Marshall 3, Mankato West 4, Wilmer 5. And 4A is Hopkins, Centennial, Chaska, Minnetonka, and Stillwater. Stay with Max Prep for volleyball. Minneota 1, Wayzata 2, Stillwater 3, East Ridge, and Woodbury at 4, and Northfield at 5. Class A is Minneota, Mabel, Belgrade, Boston, and Mayor Lutheran at 5. Mayor Lutheran at 5th. Class AA is Stewartville, Greenway Coloring. Usually think hockey when you see a Greenway Coloring, but here's Greenway Coloring up there. Southwest Christian and Chaska, Albany and Maple Lake. 3A, as expected, Wayzata, East Ridge, Northfield, Monticello, and Wilmer. Now we go back. The rest of these rankings are all based from Minnesota Prep Hub or the Star Tribune site. Boys hockey 2A, Eden Prairie, Maple Grove, and Benilton Margaret are top 3. Prior Lake in at 4. Roseville is at 10. That's kind of weird to see that. Boys hockey 1A, you got Hermantown, Gentry Academy, War Road 3. Delano in at 9, checking at number 9 for local Delano. And then girls hockey 2A is Andover, Edina, Minnetonka. Rosso at 4, Holy Family at 9. And for 1A for girls, it's War Road, Chisago Lakes, and Breck at 3. Breck is the school's been national state champions and just had a bunch of girls out the Gophers last week we talked about. Mount West Tonka coming in at 6. So that's that for those. Wrestling, this is from the site here for wrestling. I'll just go with the first few schools in each class. 3A is Stillwater 1, Shakopee 2, St. Michael, Albertville 3. Waconia in at 7, Bemidji at 8. Class 2A is Simile, Casson Mountainville, and Detroit Lakes. Tri-County United in 11, right there. And we won't mention the 12th place team. Coach will get mad.
Nice.
Out of respect for coach, we won't say who's in 12th. Class 1A, Long Prairie Gray Eagle 1, Atwater 2, Belgrade 3. So that's that one right there. That's how wrestlings are going. Again, it's early in the season. They're still bouncing around. They're still getting things going. So good luck to those kids there. Men's NCAA basketball. Now, again, these were before the weekend here started. This is a Saturday night, so go with it on this. Gonzaga 1, Baylor 2, Villanova 3, Michigan 4, Texas 5. So that's Iowa's in at 7 right there on those rankings. Women's basketball, UConn, who suffered a loss yesterday. Stanford, South Carolina, Oregon, and Baylor. So that's your top 5 there. For girls basketball, men's hockey is Boston College 1, Minnesota State 2, North Dakota, Minnesota 3, Bowling Green 5. Women's hockey is Cornell, Wisconsin, Northeastern, Minnesota 4. NCAA wrestling has some rankings out. No big shock, Iowa 1, who just spanked the Gophers last week. That was embarrassing. Michigan 2, North Carolina State 3. Then I got some scheduling coming out. University of Minnesota girls soccer has released their 2021 schedule starting February 20th. They'll be home against Nebraska. Their season ends up April 3rd. They got a home game and 2 on the road. They got a home stretch at end of March at home, a couple early March. Let's see, it's 5, 10, 11 games they got, all Big Ten games. Girls soccer is starting, so let's go out and support them. Boys basketball. 11-5 right now. They're playing today against Purdue, or at Purdue, and then Tuesday they'll be home against Rutgers. The girls, 4-7. They beat Purdue on Thursday, and they're at Iowa. Monica Cesano and Iowa Hawkeyes. They're on there visiting them on Sunday. Men's hockey, 14-3 with a win against Ohio State yesterday, and they're playing them again today right now. Women's hockey is at 9-4 with a split of Ohio State this weekend. They coming up next. Men's gymnastics. They start today against Iowa, and then they're at Ohio State on February 6th. Women's gymnastics beat Penn State today, 196.675 to 194.750. They're off to a 2-1 start for the women's gymnastics. February 6th, Saturday at Iowa. Wrestling 2-2 tomorrow with a tri-event with Purdue and Rutgers. Volleyball 3-0. They won on Friday against Maryland, 25-16, 25-17, 25-23. And then they play them again today, Maryland. And Bemidji State. Now, Bemidji State Athletics got some interesting news on some of these games. Boys basketball falls to 2-8 with back-to-back losses to Minot State this weekend. They play again the 5th and 6th at St. Cloud State. Women's basketball 7-1, first place in their conference in the North. They swept Minot State 77-63 and 70-61 this weekend. They're first place in the Northern Division of their conference, so good step for them. They're 7-1. Their next games are St. Cloud State, 5th and 6th of February. Men's hockey 6-4-2. They beat number 2 Minnesota State 4-1 the other day. A 1-game series. Goalie Zach Driscoll for Bemidji State faced 36 shots, saved 35 because he gave up 1 goal. Bemidji State had 4 goals, 1 empty netter. They only had 10 shots on goal the whole game. Scored 4 times, including the empty netter. So, just a good lesson for you young kids out there. It's not how many shots, it's the quality of the shots. 10 shots the entire game.
Wow.
Against the number 2 team in the country, which, okay, right there you go. Bemidji State, okay, yeah, they got 10 shots the whole game. That's all right. Yeah, but they got 4 of them in. So, so it's a little note there. They play at Fair State February 5th and 6th for our next game for boys hockey. Women's hockey dropped to 2-10-2 with a couple of overtime losses at Mankato State this weekend, 1-0 and 3-2. Their next games are at the February 12th and 13th at Wisconsin. Across the Cheddar Curtain over there. And that's what I got for our rankings there. I know baseball's starting up with the colleges. They're getting kicked around. Some of the Southern schools and West Coast schools have games played already, I believe. If not coming up, they do. Up here in the Big Ten, our games start a little later. They used to at the Metrodome. I know U.S. Bank where the Vikings play. That can be converted to baseball. Gophers have had some games in there in the past. So pretty soon you might hear aluminum bats echoing inside over there. But we'll see. I like college baseball a lot. It's kind of like watching minor league baseball. They're playing for the fun of it. They're playing to excel. You ever get a chance to catch a Gopher game, they're always contenders. They're always up there for the Big Ten title and contending for the tournament every year. So you don't have the money for the Twins game, or you don't want to go downtown from Minneapolis to the Target Field. Understandable. Not that going on campus is any better, but they're usually during the day. A little better crowd control down there on campus. I highly recommend catching a Gopher game this year if you can. That's what I got. Before I get to my event of the week, which we'll do in a little bit, but before that, what do you have for a trivia answer, sir?
I got one college basketball note. Tomorrow,
Yes.
the UConn Huskies game against DePaul will be on Fox Broadcasting, Fox Channel. First time ever they've done a Division I basketball, women's basketball for college. It'll be tomorrow noon if you want to watch that. Remember, Paige Beckers is with UConn. They'll be taking on their third ranked. DePaul, that taking on is 18th ranked in the nation. That'll be a good matchup there. Noon on Fox tomorrow on Sunday the 31st. That's all I've got for that. The trivia question was for the Pro Bowl. In the history of the Pro Bowl, has anyone ever won back-to-back MVPs in back-to-back games? The answer
I'm going
is
to take
yes.
a guess. I'm going to guess Adrian Peterson, because I know he always went all out in those games all the time.
He won the MVP one time.
Only one, okay.
In fact, a lot of Minnesotans have won it. I mean, Randy Moss, Adrian Peterson, Kyle Rudolph just most recently as a tight end. And then Fran Tarkenton won before they had the AFL-NFL merger. Was the 1964 All-Star Game MVP was Fran Tarkenton. But the Minnesota connection is the answer to this week's trivia is Rich Gannon, playing for the Oakland Raiders, won the MVP of the Pro Bowl in 2000 and 2001. That's about the strangest. No one would ever get that typically right. Anyway, former Viking, Rich Gannon, of all the high-quality, high-caliber players to play in the Pro Bowl, what I would call a high-average guy, Rich Gannon, actually won back-to-back MVP titles.
Wow. Not the last guy I would have picked, I think.
Now, before the AFL merger, three players did win it twice, not back-to-back, but twice. Gale Sayers won it 66 and 67, and MVP honors, and that was actually back-to-back. Johnny Unitas won in 59 and 60, and Jim Brown, the running back, 61 and 62. Those guys won it before the AFL-NFL merger as two-time winners. But, boy, Rich Gannon's in good company with those folks. That's the trivia answer for this week.
Wow. All right. Event of the week. Last week, our event of the week was in Iowa with Ozzie in the bat there. Kind of singing Iowa, but not for as good a story. Excuse me. Little headline of this is growing up, getting into music. My Uncle Howard got me into a lot of the old-time music. He was in the older school music up there from the 50s and 60s. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, Big Bopper, all those guys got me into that stuff. So I love that type of music growing up in the 70s and 80s. Growing up. So those stories, I got older and I got to read more about it. It's like, but wait, you feel like you know these guys kind of a little. February 3rd, 1959, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and J.P. Richardson, the Big Bopper, were killed in a plane crash. Don McLean would call up the day the news died as 1971 hit America high. The musicians were heading to Fargo, North Dakota on a small plane leaving Cedar Lake, Iowa, where they had performed as part of a 24-city winter dance party tour. They had been traveling by bus, but it got so cold that Holly chartered a plane, single-engine Beechcraft Bonanza. Shortly after takeoff, the plane goes down. It is snowing and poor visibility, likely leads to a crash. Tommy Alsop and Waylon Jennings were also on tour. but they are spared by sheer luck. Alsop lost a coin flip for a seat on the plane to Valens, and Jennings let Richardson have his other seat. Losing those musical people altered the rock and roll landscape. The rock era had begun about 4 years earlier with Elvis Presley in the Army. There were a few stars to propel it toward, and with the British invasion coming, it would, the British invasion kind of saved, or not saved, but regenerated rock and roll. Holly was 22, the headliner on the tour. It was a rising star with the number one hit under his belt, That'll Be the Day. Richie Valens, 17, was one of the hottest new artists of the time with the song Donna on the charts. Don McLean, who was a teenager at the time, would call it The Day the Music Died, his 1971 hit American Pie. There was also a story here, Waylon Jennings tells stories of that. There says he gave up his seat to the Big Bopper on there. Waylon Jennings has told the story, goes, oh, geez, I hope your Waylon, he's kidding to Waylon, goes, geez, I hope your bus breaks down. And Waylon says kingly, well, I hope your plane crashes. Waylon Jennings takes things a little seriously. I mean, he did not obviously intend it, but, I was also reading an article this week about Waylon Jennings where, because it was between this story and the We Are the World, USA for Africa recording, was also on This Week in History. Waylon Jennings was there for that, and he left because of some of the lyrics that were being said in it. Waylon Jennings left going, good old boy wouldn't talk like that, and he left. Now, he wasn't in the video. He didn't have a solo part like a lot of the other artists have, if you remember the song, but he is credited in the chorus part. His name is credited there, but he did stick around for the whole thing. So I guess at this part we had the argument, it was like 3 a.m. They wanted some part, it was like a Swahili or African chant verbiage in there, and that's where he left. Ray Charles was the one who ended up going, I can't sing in English right now. Let's not put anything in another language in there. But so big week music history, the USA for Africa recording. That kind of still gets me moved a little bit to hear that. The Day the Music Died with the plane crash. Going up there northern from Cedar Lake, Iowa to North Dakota. Kind of sad when you hear how things like that happen. The ages of 21 and 17, and they're just going now. And you hear of all these musical festivals now. Can you imagine some music festival right now? The 3 main headliners are all on the same plane that crashed. That's basically what happened here at this time. You had your music festival on tour, and the 3 headliners were on the same crash. That's what happened there. So it would really, for any music genre, I don't care if it was a country music festival, rock festival, punk festival, whatever. You take your 3 big headliners and put them out. I think that's kind of really why I don't see a lot of them travel together anymore on these big events. Superstition maybe a little bit, but you don't want to do that. But yeah, so that's it. So if you ever wondered what that song was about, when you hear it, The Day the Music Died, American Pie, that's what it's all about right there. But that's what I got, sir. What do you have for your album of the week this week?
Album of the week this week is Working Class Dog by artist Rick Springfield.
Yes.
Working Class Dog is the 4th studio album by Australian rock musician Rick Springfield, released by RCA Records in 1981. Released on Valentine's Day. A lot of love songs, of course. A lot of romance songs. Rick Springfield. Back in the day. The album was certified platinum in America and eventually sold over 3 million US copies. It produced Springfield's biggest career hit with the #1 song, Jesse's Girl. Springfield was awarded the 1982 Grammy Award for Best Rock Vocal Performance by a Male. I didn't know that. Now, luckily enough, I found this in my wife's record collection.
Oh, your wife's record collection. I got it. Yeah. Your wife's collection. I get it.
The Rick Springfield 1981 album with the man himself on the back.
I got that same shirt. The shirt he's wearing, I got one like that.
I'm sure. Now, this is 1981. This was released, and he released his second album, a year later, called "Success Hasn't Spoiled Me Yet" in '82. But in the meantime, he was an actor, on General Hospital for a couple of years. Noah Drake. Is that his name?
Yep.
Now, was that the The Friends kind of used that with Matt LeBlanc, with Dr.
Rick Ramore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was that a spin-off of that? Is that where they got that?
I think so. I think that's where they got it from, yeah. Because he was on General Hospital. Dr. Drake Ramore is a doctor.
Similar type of deal. And
Inside
so
humor.
his song "Love Is All Right Tonight" was used in comedic relief in the 2001 film Wet Hot American Summer. It was mentioned in that. Now, the recording of this album was in Sound City in Van Nuys, California. I didn't know that either. The historic Sound City. There's a documentary on that whole location where all these famous albums were produced in Van Nuys, California, outside of LA. And Working Class Dog was produced right there. The entire album's 32 minutes and 11 seconds long. Pretty short. And when you look at the lengths here, side one of the album, they're all 3 minutes long. Side two, most of them are 2 minutes long. And they got a filler at the end that's over 4.5 minutes long, I think, to round it out. But here's the track listing. Love Is All Right Tonight was also a single released by Rick Springfield. Song 1. Song 2, the ever-popular Jesse's Girl. Song 3, Hole in My Heart. Song 4, Carry Me Away. And Song 5, a cover song by Sammy Hagar. I've Done Everything for You, Rick Springfield. I didn't know that either.
Yep.
He did that cover song of a Sammy Hagar song. And the producer says you should throw in a cover song by someone on this album. So they picked that one, and sure enough. Side 2 was The Light of Love, Everybody's Girl, Daddy's Pearl, Red Hot and Blue Love, and the last song, Inside Sylvia, rounds out the album. Once again, released on Valentine's Day. It used the dog on the front. That's his dog, Ronnie, was Rick Springfield's pet dog. So Ronnie was also featured on the next subsequent album, Success Hasn't Spoiled Me Yet, and sadly enough, Ron died back in 1994.
Kind of looks like Spuds McKenzie, the old Budweiser.
Kind of where they got that idea from, I think. That was become a famous dog. The genre here is considered pop rock. I could agree with that. But, you know, Springfield won Best Rock Vocal Performance in 1982, a Grammy for that. I wouldn't consider it rock, but pop rock, perhaps. Now,
I'd throw in the same category as like a Night Ranger.
it's kind of, yes.
Night Ranger, Journey, pop rock.
The album cover actually was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Album Package in 1981. And that I agree with. It's a very common, it's a very widely known, popular album cover.
Mm-hmm.
It was well done. Now, check out this. The personnel on this group. Remember, he didn't have a band. He's more or less used session guys for the musical, for the instruments. He used Jack White on drums and Mike Baird. Not the Jack White we know, but Jack White, Mike Baird. Bass was Jeffy Rich. Keyboards, Gabriel Katona. Guitar and bass, Neil Giraldo. And they used Robin Ford, courtesy of Elektra Records, on lead guitar. Robin Ford, first name spelled R-O-B-B-E-N. It's a male named Robin Ford. Well-known, one of the top maybe 50 guitarists of all time, Robin Ford. Was never in a rock or a heavy metal band. Very good guitarist, though. In doing the research for this, he played on 2 Kiss songs on the 1982 Creatures of the Night album for Kiss after Ace Frehley was fired. And before Vinnie Vincent came in, they used some session guys. They weren't credited at all, and that's why I didn't know this. Robin Ford, it says, played 2 songs on the Creatures of the Night in the studio, Creatures of the Night album by the 1982 band Kiss. And he said, I never imagined I'd ever be playing, metal, hard rock music ever. He's kind of a classic, maybe a classically trained guitarist with going to high-end schools. And he says in an interview that he played actually on 2 songs on the Creatures of the Night album by Kiss in 1982. So that's Robin Ford. He used them. He was currently on contract by Elektra at the time. But Rick Springfield picked up these guys, and he'd been in music since early to mid 70s in Australia, and then made it big in 81, 82. And That was it, but it won triple platinum.
It's not a bad album.
Valentine's Day released 1981. That's Mr. Rick Springfield, Dr. Drake. What's his
Noah
name?
Drake. Noah Drake.
General Hospital.
Get it right.
Early 80s.
Noah Drake.
Noah Drake. So
His
that's
character
my
actor made a
album
comeback
review
in the
of the week. That's the album review of the week for this week. And once again, please remember to leave recommendations and suggestions in the comments section and on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and
Now,
YouTube.
Noah Drake's character made a comeback in the 2000s.
Okay.
So it's just like, little note for you, those of you watching YouTube, thank you. Stick around. We're going to try something new. Going to try to throw a little extra something on after this video, so don't go, oh, they said goodbye and turn it off. Hang on. Those of you on audio, Dan did an interview this week with Carrie from the band Heartless, who's going to be a Heart tribute band, who's going to be playing at Medina coming up in February. We're going to put that audio on the end of the podcast part you listen to. If you want to watch it, we do have that on a separate segment on our YouTube channel. Go find it there. We're going to try to tag that or on the audio. The video part, we're going to try to tag a Rick Springfield video at the end. I didn't mention any concerts this week, kind of saving that. I think I might get a little more because a lot of them are all still kind of coming out. They're not really signing for sure. We know Heartless is going to be there end of February. We're going to be there watching them. You're welcome to come see us there if you want.
We've got our tickets. We're ready to go. End of February. It's going to be a good show.
We are set. We will be there. We are going there, though, as relaxing with the wives, so no autographs, no groupies. Please just respect our privacy at the event. It sounded good in my head before I said it out loud.
That was pretty good.
I always wanted to say something like that. But yeah, so we're trying a few things different. Keep your eye on the Instagram page. I know we don't blog as often as we'd like to. We're going to try to get that going again, too. So just follow us on social media. Any questions or concerns, please throw them out there.
Maybe even suggestions for Andy's soapbox segment.
Yes, if there's a topic you want me to go about, an album you want to listen to, an event coming up going, hey, I know you do event of the week in history. How about this one? Let me know.
And then look forward to next week's Super Bowl preview show.
Yes.
Kansas
Big
City
show.
Chiefs and Tampa Bay Bucks at Tampa. First time ever team has played in their home stadium in the Super Bowl. But Tampa will be the visiting team, will they not?
Yes, I believe they will because they were the lower seed.
They'll be the visiting team playing at their home field. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right, take care.
Have a good week.